As promised, the Adventure era of videos is getting an epilogue here in the form of a quick look at Sonic's adventures on the Game Boy Advance. Now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, but Jay, didn't you already review the Sonic Advance games? Yes, back in 2017, my first reviews to be focused on Sonic were videos on the 4 main GBA entries, leaving out Pinball Party and the other one. However, I don't consider those videos to be canon to the Sonic was distinctive retrospective. They are Sonic videos that I have done, but the start of my current canon of Sonic videos, if you will, would be the Sonic Stories episode from 2018, followed by my establishing the eras of Sonic, the video on the 2010s, and the reviews that have come out since. The reason those videos aren't canon isn't because they're old and not how I'd make videos now. In fact, I don't really think those videos are that bad by today's standards anyway, and I don't really disagree with most of them. It's mainly because I think there are a lot of moments that are pretty cringeworthy like these.
Seeing as nostalgia bias seems to be an ongoing war between different factions of the Sonic fanbase, which is a can of worms I'd rather not put my hands into. However, I just want to say that going forward, I don't really have some kind of allegiance to any specific Sonic playstyles. I just hate this game to the core. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up with this game, since if you're not in the boost mode, then all bets are off. These levels just plain suck. City Escape was more interesting, for God's sake. Yeah, I said it. That level's not that great. But I can't even see his full body. Or how Shadow isn't some ultra-powerful edgelord like he was in Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic 06. He's down to earth like SA2 or Sonic Heroes. I always beat both stages at the 5.5 minute mark, and that gets me a gold ranking. 2D Sonic does just not need to be that long in my opinion. Maybe that's why that modern Moran Jeb liked Advance 2. It was linear like his feckin' Avenger 2.
Ugh, stupid. But if you do want my full opinions on Sonic Advance 1 and 3 especially, those videos describe exactly how I feel today, just in more depth than I intend to go into tonight. Anyway, I have always found that videos on spin-off games are a lot more fun with a guest, so that's why I would like to introduce you to my new friend and up-and-coming YouTuber, Anthony from Characters in Depth. Introduce yourself.
What's up, everyone? In my channel, Characters in Depth, I analyze characters and stories, what they're about, and how they impact fans. I'm always intrigued to dive in and see how they tick. Being the Sonic nut I am, I have to talk about the polished Advance games, and a certain fighting title with a story I've gotten a few requests to cover. I'm double teaming with your Juggernaut host reviewer. It's all you, Jay!
To waste no more time, I've been mentioning Sonic Advance in passing in my videos on Adventure 2 and Heroes, and that was because of the context, as this game was released alongside Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Very significant that Sonic was making a leap to Nintendo's home console and their handheld, the Game Boy Advance, which was actually my first entrance into video games, period. But this is not the first time Sonic has been on another company's console. The first time was released in between Sonic Adventure and Sonic Shuffle, that being Sonic Pocket Adventure for the Neo Geo Pocket Color handheld. I figured I'd give this game a quick look in this video because of that great segue, and because I don't really have much to add here. It's a massive meme that this game got a freaking 10 out of 10 from IGN, however, I think that score is indicative of just how impressive this game was at launch in 1999. Think about it, gaming went through so much change in the 90s, and a game like Sonic Pocket Adventure showed just how far handheld gaming had come. The main gimmick with this one is just that it's a full 2D Sonic game on the go. We have these new level names, but the stages in Pocket Adventure are taking assets from Sonic 2 and remixing them, as well as throwing in some stuff from Sonic 1 and Sonic CD, and featuring a collection of remixes from Sonic 3's soundtrack. The gameplay feels like an accurate version of the console 2D games from the Genesis, which shows massive progress from the Game Gear days where Sonic platformers for the Battery Guzzler were very clearly the poor man's Sonic. In terms of the game itself, there really isn't much to say. I like how the game shows the transition between the classic and modern designs.
Don't they know I'm busy spoiling myself?
And I think it's impressive for the time of release, but much like Mega Man Extreme, it just doesn't have much of a place in 2020, as everything this game does has been done elsewhere. But it's especially worthless if you want to play it yourself, because you're either going to pirate it, or you're playing it on the Neo Geo. No in between.
But to move to the main event, a lot of the developers from Sonic Pocket Adventure at SNK went on to form the company Dimps, who developed the Sonic Advance series on the GBA and the Sonic Rush games on the DS. So we are starting off with Sonic Advance 1. With the 3D games thriving, Sega made sure the classic fans weren't forgotten, and we got this blend of both worlds. Advance plays like the games of old, but with melee attacks like the tail swipe or Knuckles' fists, and grinding to keep it fresh. Sonic's Insta-Shield from Sonic 3 and K returns to protect you from spiky annoyances. The layout follows Sonic 2 with 2 stages, the latter having a boss fight at the end. The special stages are back, but set for 1 per zone, so don't expect to get all the Chaos Emeralds at the halfway point. There's no real story here. The region this game takes place in doesn't even have a name. Metal Knuckles is just dropped in at the end with no introduction or fanfare, and the game just ends after it's over. But with Sonic Adventure 2 killing it on consoles, it's okay to have a simple, more laid-back platformer on handhelds. Handheld games were ideal for continuing the retro feel of games from the 80s and early 90s. The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap is the younger sibling of A Link to the Past. Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel calls back to the first two top-down view installments in the franchise, so why not let Sonic's throwback handheld follow the same format?
I think Sonic Advance is just a really fun game. This is certainly not a game that would come to mind if you ever asked me about my favorite Sonic games, my favorite 2D Sonic games, but as a game, it's just a simple Sonic platforming experience, and I really respect the effort. A quick run of Sonic Advance as Sonic is guaranteed to give a good time with high-speed segments, accurate controls to the original Sonic games, well-designed platforming, and boss fights. Tails and Knuckles adding the same replay value they did to Sonic 3K as flying and gliding allows for easier exploration.
Amy is the newest addition to the playable cast, and she functions much differently from the rest. She can't spin jump, run fast, or spin dash, instead using her hammer for all melee attacks with a mid-air spin attack and a ground attack. Amy's mode adds some extra challenge by having to be more careful with how you interact with enemies, but it's my least favorite because Amy's acceleration is just as sluggish as it was in Sonic Adventure 1.
It's cool that they added an extra playable character, one so different from the usual formula no less, as it would have been very easy for them to just make a rehash of the previous 2D games like Pocket Adventure was. Instead, we have 4 whole campaigns that add something unique to the game. The one thing I have against Sonic Advance isn't really a big deal, but I do think this game is kinda dry. Like I said, the game is fun to go through once every now and again, but I obviously played it 4 times for this video, and I just found that the game's formula is good, and can keep your attention for all 4 of its playthroughs, but it's just lacking in pizzazz, if that makes any sense. Like, Sonic Advance doesn't have any bombing runs through the woods or any other such set pieces. It is what it looks like, a 2D Sonic platformer for the GBA, and that's not a problem at all, it's just something I figured I'd mention. I gave scorn to the special stages in the previous video, but I actually managed to get to grips with them pretty well this time around, even nailing the timing on the trick rings. I'll go ahead and thank my Royal Guard experience from Devil May Cry for that.
And we cannot move on without gushing about the sprite animation. These are some of the most fluid, stunning animations in any sprite game. The characters never look so refined in 2D. Same goes for all the games in this era. If you've been on Newgrounds, you know what I'm getting at. The characters are so expressive. Sonic's cockiness, Knuckles' cool factor, Eggman's frustration, can't get enough of them.
I've always praised the sprites in these games to high heavens, but I think that I've finally been able to nail down why this is. The sprites in the GBA games do a great job translating Yuji Uekawa's art style into sprites. The thick black outlines he has around the characters is intact here, as is the distinct style of shading he uses. It's also worth mentioning that by the Sonic Advance games and the Mega Collection Plus, Yuji Uekawa's art style had become a little more refined as far as the character proportions and details are concerned, and I think these are an overall improvement. Having said that, when you collect all the emeralds as any character, beat all 4 stories, and destroy the final boss fight as Sonic, you get access to the true final boss in the Moon Zone. Not much to say as far as final boss fights are concerned, however I do like these little images they have to tell the story, which goes for every Advance game come to think of it. But besides that, I don't have much to add in Advance 1, I just think it's a really solid 2D Sonic entry with fun levels, a good soundtrack, pretty visuals, the works.
And can we please stop calling this the real Sonic 4? It has the same formula, but not the same narrative structure. Stuff happens in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Knuckles' turning point from enemy to reliable hero, the lore of the Master Emerald was given some significance, in the Japanese manuals at least. A game to follow that would need a story on the same plane. Advance doesn't attempt to do that since it prides itself in being familiar without going farther than that. There's no world building. Advance doesn't need the name Sonic 4 to be validated. It holds strong enough on its own. I really like this game, and a high-quality re-release on today's consoles with widescreen would be a brilliant move. A proper pause menu that lets you go back to the main menu would be nice too. Just saying.
Which leads us into Sonic Advance 2, released for the GBA just 1 year after the previous one. This is one I gave a lot of shit in my original review. And while I don't entirely disagree with my take on this game from before, as this is still definitely on my lower end of the Sonic tier list, but to start with the positives, I think Sonic Advance 2 is a gorgeous looking game. I know we just went into the sprites a moment ago, but I think Sonic Advance 2 was a massive step up when it comes to the foregrounds, the backgrounds, the speed, the music, the full-on cutscenes. It seems clear from the offset to me that this game just got a much higher budget put into it than the original Sonic Advance. Just look at the music plant stage. The amount of colors on the screen truly trumps anything in Advance 1 with a more upbeat soundtrack than anything that game offered.
I have a close attachment to this game. It was the first Sonic game I owned and one of my first Game Boy Advance games, alongside Pokemon Sapphire. It was a blast every step of the way. The stages were fun and fierce all at once. The 5th stage, Sky Canyon, always had this intensity to it. My favorite stages are Techno Base and Egg Utopia. The former was pretty damn creative, being the first digital stage in the franchise. The boss fights were epic. Eggman's on the run, and you need to plan your attacks carefully. The adrenaline's always going in this game. The addition of Cream the Rabbit implemented the more sensitive aspect of Sonic with her formal, nice girl mannerisms. Her determination to save her mother instantly makes her a likable addition to the roster. I have a soft spot for Advance 2, but it's not perfect.
So yeah, I no longer think this game is god-awful, but my overall impression of it is just meh. Sonic Advance 2 attempted to up the thrills through the introduction of the Boost mode, where the character will break the sound barrier with a really cool afterimage following you. The more rings you have, the easier it will be to break the sound barrier. Having said that, I find that Sonic Advance 2 is just boring. The early levels are very straightforward with a minimal amount of platforming, and the later stages have way too much screen crunch for my liking. But ultimately, if I'm just trying to get through the stages, I think Sonic Advance 2 is simple enough and can be enjoyed for the high-speed gameplay it offers, but like I said, I just think that this game is boring. I don't get much satisfaction from playing through any of the stages in Advance 2. I speed through the early ones, speed through the later ones, surviving by the skin of my teeth more often than not. I think the boss fights are pretty awkward personally, and then all I can think to myself is that I'm exhausted and want to play something else. Especially evident with how you still have to play the game 4 times to see the final boss fight, and I get more sick of this game with each and every playthrough.
Why does every character have their own set of Chaos Emeralds to track down? That makes 35 emeralds! Thanos, eat your heart out. I know 3NK had a total of 42 emeralds, but that was with 3 characters. Advance 2 has 5. Also, accessing the special stages was way easier in 3NK. Just walk into a giant ring. In Advance 2, you have to find 7 emblems in one run without dying. Jeez, making it challenging is one thing, but there's a line. I don't want to do that 35 times. And why are the characters unlockable? Sonic is the only available one in the party when you start it. He later rescues Cream, Tails, and Knuckles. Oh, and it's implied that Eggman tricks Knuckles again! Why do the handheld games keep doing this? It's like the 3rd time on handhelds alone. Amy is unlocked after getting all the emeralds as the first 4 characters. She was playable right off the bat in the last game, and it's not even worth it anyway, as she plays the exact same as everyone else. Overall, I like Advance 2, warts and all. For a re-release, trim the fat, make everyone available immediately, and don't make the special stages so demanding to get into.
I pretty much agree. I don't think Advance 2 is terrible, but I just don't enjoy playing as I think the main campaign is dull and repetitive, and the completion is just atrocious as it really hammered in the old video. The Game Boy Advance is also home to many Sonic spin-offs as well. The first of which being Sonic Pinball Party, and I didn't actually play much of this one for more than like 5 minutes, as I'd actually rather play Sonic Spinball on the Genesis. I'm so bad at pinball, guys. Like, I have no idea what the hell is going on in this game's pinball board. And I do think it's cool that we got to see Yuji Uekawa draw other Sega characters like Knights, right? So that's something.
It sure is! I love Sonic spin-offs that invite other Sega All-Stars to the mix. It has a few tracks from Nights into Dreams, Samba de Amigo, Choo Choo Rocket, Phantasy Star Online, Burning Rangers, all remixed with that sweet, sweet GBA sound font.
Which leads us into Sonic Battle, a game I've been playing for well over 10 years, and I've beaten it a couple times, regrettably. Sonic Battle is a game I've always wanted to love, but I just cannot. But let's start with the good stuff. The graphics, barring these obvious map cutoffs, look great, with the Sonic Advance sprite work translating really well into the fighting game style. The soundtrack's pretty memorable, and the mechanics are pretty alright, but we can explore that after the game's most defining element, the storyline. What have I been saying this whole time? Sonic spin-offs used to go big or go home, and this game has an epic plot rivaling the adventure games, I'd say. Besides my stupid edgelord line, I think I covered the story pretty well in the old video, so Anthony, as the story guy, what's your take?
The most gripping part of the story is Emerald, the mysterious robot that adapts after fighting everyone new. You could call him the Amazo of Sonic. It's not just his combat prowess that improves, his intelligence and personality grows with every Chaos Emerald he absorbs and everybody he meets. He started out as a blank slate until he develops his own identity for every chapter. Cream's episode conveys his understanding of sadness, and the difference between playing and hurting while fighting. And Shadow's chapter. These two are practically brothers. Both have ties to Gerald Robotnik, and they were made as weapons. And about Shadow, I was worried he would be like his Edgy the Hedgy Majin Vegeta wannabe stealing popcorn from Baby Chow, "You're weak and you know what makes you weak, your loyalty to your pathetic friends" persona in the beginning when he threatened Sonic. But we eventually see a softer side as he bonds with Emerald and Rouge. It touches on his self-loathing, and there are moments that hit you in the gut, like his exclamation that Maria will always be with him. I miss this guy! I can't say the same for Amy, unfortunately. She's the same as she was in Heroes, but way worse. Always eager to punch someone when things aren't going her way, and obsessed with the idea that Emerald is Sonic's adopted son, and she seizes his opportunity to be a mother. Well, there needs to be a reason for her to fight her friends. Seriously, enough with the forced rival battles. And the ending is the saddest in the franchise. Emerald breaks down and is about to destroy the Earth aboard the Death Egg. Yeah, it's back. Sonic has no choice but to destroy him. Following that, everyone expresses remorse for Emerald, and they discuss how the world would be safer without weapons. Emerald was this kid who was caught up in carnage designed by power-hungry fools. Poor guy didn't deserve what happened to him. You really feel for Emerald.
Tails was looking pretty authoritarian for a second there, demanding everyone will be happy or else. But in all seriousness, I totally agree. It's really refreshing to go back and see this story, one a lot of us aren't super familiar with as it's the GBA fighting game, and see these characters bouncing off one another in such great ways. The story is the driving force of the game, which bodes well for the storyline, but not for the game itself. Like I said, I really wished I loved Sonic Battle, but this game has got to be one of the most tedious Sonic games of all time. This game, from moment one, just drags on and on and on. The game keeps spamming these terrible Chaos Gamma encounters over and over, where the damn thing explodes once you empty its health bar. Chaos himself also comes back out of nowhere to fight Emerald, which is really random. Like, imagine if Maria actually came back to life in the Shadow game and bullied some Chow and then disappeared. The mechanics of battle are okay, given the fact that the console only has 4 buttons to work with, but it's really easy to get sick of playing the game, as you have to face off against an opponent and then they make you fight the same encounter again with more lives to deal with. It's just so awful and padded as early as Sonic's story. It makes it hard to enjoy the highlights of the story if you have to survive terrible moments like Knuckles fighting 3 Chaos Gammas in Club Rouge, or having to battle every character as Emerald at the end of Shadow's story. For that reason alone, Sonic Battle cements its place in the D tier of Sonic games, literally just because of the fact that it has a campaign that is just not fun to play no matter how you slice it. The customization with Emerald is fantastic, the presentation's great for GBA standards, the story knocks it out of the park, but I cannot look past a meandering campaign that doubles the amount of playtime in a game that would have been plenty long enough already. But that brings us into what's easily my favorite Sonic game for the GBA, Advance 3.
A grand finale if I've ever seen one, bringing the Advanced Trilogy to a close with everything under its belt. After the hurdle of unlocking the remaining characters, you're free to pair them up in teams of 2 with differing skills, jumping higher, launching Knuckles, and boosting with Sonic. There are a few duos that are a downgrade. Knuckles with Sonic can't glide, Tails with Knuckles can't fly. They should all have their basic abilities as well as bonus techniques.
Actually, that's my least favorite aspect of the game. The fact that you have to unlock characters as Sonic really brings down the customization, and there's no way to know this, which is just stupid. And like you said, some combinations restrict your abilities, which is also dumb. But overall, Sonic Advance 3 is still my favorite 2D Sonic game. Like, I know Sonic 3 and Knuckles is better overall, but Sonic Advance 3 is a game I'll always appreciate, as this game is what really got me into the series after I first started playing with the Mega Collection Plus. Ever since I first started playing this game to 100% completion in 2014, there really isn't a 2D Sonic game I can count on for a fun playthrough quite like Advance 3. Every now and again I'll just pop this game in and play it for a couple hours, doing a new 100% run, and I'll have a smile on my face by the time it's over. I love seeing the unique benefits you get from different partnerships. I think the game offers a lot of hidden areas to look out for and find collectible Chow, which allows you to gain entrance into the zone special stage. I find playing stages in Advance 3, whether it be exploring or utilizing the partner features or speeding through levels to get a gold star rank at the end, to be a blast. I love the soundtrack, I think the graphics are the best yet, and I love the sense of finality this game has as what was probably seen by the developers as Sonic's last game on the GBA.
It's not just the Advanced series it's bringing to a close, Advance 3 carries after Battle. Eggman created a new robot modeled after Emerald, the cold and menacing G-Merle, or Gemerald. Tomato, tomato. After collecting all the emeralds, with one character this time, shared emerald count should be a mainstay. G-Merle takes them and transforms into Ultimate G-Merle. Sonic and Eggman team up to bring him down. The first time ever where Eggman is on the hero side of a final battle. With G-Merle defeated, Tails reprograms him to be as gentle as Emerald, much to Cream's joy. The ending of Advance 3 is so calming and warm.
And that's another thing I love about this game. This sense of adventure you get from completing it. Like, the last levels are really climactic and the credits showing this grand journey back home. I think Sonic Advance 3 is a perfect handheld embodiment of everything the adventure era stood for, with these great characters we've come to know and love and look forward to seeing the new adventures of. With this also being the very final game to ever feature the original Sonic Adventure voice cast as these characters, even if it's limited to grunts. Seriously, I just love this game and its unique aesthetics and areas and original boss fights, the dialogue, the minigames, everything. If you want to know every single thought that's ever entered my brain about Sonic Advance 3, I'd say check out the old video. It's the most in-depth look at Sonic Advance 3 you could possibly get from me. It truly is a grand way to end Sonic's library on the GBA, and the adventure era as a whole.
Yeah. Almost.
Everyone knew this was coming. The final Sonic game to be released in the GBA was actually for the 15th anniversary, Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis, a re-release of Sonic 1 repurposed for the GBA. I mean, why not? Nintendo got mileage out of porting Mario All-Stars to GBA under the Mario Advance lineup, as well as releasing A Link to the Past in the GBA. Spoilers, Sonic Genesis is one of the worst Sonic games ever fucking made.
I'm still baffled that this happened. For the life of me, I can't find any documented development history. It's like how this was made is Sonic Team's dirtiest secret. It shouldn't have been made in the first place. The 15th anniversary already had 3 games. A fun racing entry, a pseudo-fun racing entry, and Silver and Shadow the game. Sonic 1 was on Mega Collection. Everybody had at least one port of the original by 2006. Did we need a half-assed one on GBA, which was super late in its lifespan by that time?
The game was so outdated that on the back of the box it says you can play it on the DS as a feature. It's a feature that this is a pointlessly made, outdated game from the offset. Sonic Advance 3 released in 2004, the DS came out later that year, and 2005 saw the release of Sonic Rush, a DS exclusive. Like, what were they thinking? As if it wasn't bad enough, the game itself is easily the worst version of the original Sonic you could possibly play. You know the story. It's buggy, it's laggy, the collision detection is terrible, the screen crunch is so bad that you can't possibly see anything coming, the music sounds absolutely horrid for GBA standards. It's just such a shockingly low effort released from Sonic Team. A shameful disgrace.
You want to know the breaking point of this game? Getting all 6 emeralds rewarded you with nature flourishing in the original, but here, the emeralds don't do diddly. You go through the worst rendition of the dreamlike special stages in Sonic 1 and get nothing out of it. The biggest middle finger a handheld Sonic game can give you.
I really struggled to get through this one. Oh shit. No, there's no way I'm not gonna get a game over. No! And especially they built it up so much.
I think it's because...
No! I'm actually surprised I finished it, all things considered. I usually quit games I hate if they piss me off too much. But that begs the question, does a broken down, cheap, crappy port of Sonic 1 really deserve to be considered one of the worst Sonic games? Well, I guess a bad port is just that, and it definitely shouldn't have an impact on Sonic 1's legacy, but I still do think a game as legendarily bad as this does deserve to be in the conversation for worst Sonic game of all time, just because of its low quality. A shining example of the incompetence and rushed production cycles taking place at Sonic Team in the mid-2000s. A trash dumpster fire, and I hope to never play it again.
All things considered, Sonic had it good on Game Boy Advance. I'm glad Advance 2 was one of my first games on the system, and I'll happily pop in most of these from time to time.
Yeah, having said that, I think it's really cool that Sega decided to supplement the 3D games on consoles with more familiar games in the handheld. The Sonic Advance series took the classic series' gameplay and made legitimate attempts to evolve the formula in new and meaningful ways. While the main series might have been venturing in directions older fans might have considered drastically different, we still at least had the handheld series continuing a high-quality standard. Giving Nintendo players a taste of what Sonic's all about while not remotely compromising Sonic's identity as its own franchise, and that's something I have a lot of respect for. But with that said, that covers our brief look at every Sonic game in the GBA. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we could get characters in depth to join this one. Was glad to work with him, and I hope you guys check him out.
And don't be shy to suggest an idea for a video. It wouldn't be the first. Till next time.
This has been a lot of Sonic coverage on my channel for the last 2 months or so. The Sonic retrospective will be back soon with Shadow the Hedgehog. I know people are excited for this one, as am I, but I think I'm going to do some other videos first, so I hope you guys will tune in for all that. But in the meantime, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.